another race around space. It's another race away. It's another.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Eternal Midnight. I'm Santino here with Chad. What's going on, man?
Hey,
And Dylan's back for Prometheus and Alien Covenant. How are you doing, Dylan?
I'm doing fine right now. How are you guys?
I'm good. How about you, Chad?
another day. Well, we don't get paid for this, so I can't say another day, another dollar. Another episode, another movie.
All right, so let's get into Prometheus. So, what do you guys think of Prometheus, Dylan? What do you think of Prometheus?
I like Prometheus. I think I respect it more than I actually enjoy it. But yeah, I think overall it's a pretty solid sci-fi standalone that seems to be bogged down by the fact that it's an Alien prequel.
I agree completely to what you just said. And I'll expand on it later. How about you, Chad? What do you think of Prometheus?
I think Prometheus is a beautiful looking film. I think as a ancient astronaut movie, overall, I'd say it worked pretty well. I'd say some of the Alien prequel stuff kind of works. Kind of, I'll go with more than the next movie. And I unfortunately think a lot of it's got some really, really stupid characters in it, unfortunately, which sadly brings it down a little bit. But overall, I really enjoyed Prometheus. Like, I saw this one like 2 or 3 times in theaters when it came out.
I really enjoy Prometheus too. I think it's a very great, first of all, it has a great star-studded cast. It has Michael Fassbender, has Numi Rapace. Am I correct there?
Yep.
Mhm.
Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah, Guy Pearce, Charlize Theron, evil
Idris
dude.
Elba.
Yeah, evil dude from Mission Impossible is also there. Solomon Lane.
Wait,
You know.
which one was he?
The guy with the beard. Shit.
And
What is
That was
geologist
him?
guy. Yep.
Did you-
Holy shit,
Yeah.
you're right. How did I not remember that? Because he talks the same in every movie. Like, he makes his mouth like really small when he talks.
Yeah, he's like one methods or more. His mouth is like stitched together. It's like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh hey, it's the guy from Mission Impossible Fallout. You know, Solomon Lane.
How did I not? I'm an idiot. Oh well.
So let's get into the basic plot. So basically, the astronauts come and they discover this world, and the secret to immortality might be there, might be there. So they try and find out what's going on with the ship. So basically, there's this black goo. And can you guys help me here? I have no idea what the black goo is. It's a weapon, right? I assume so.
Was it really established? It wasn't ever established what it was or where it came from. Just that it would kill you.
Right.
Right.
Because we saw that we saw that hologram flashback of all the engineers running, and none of that was ever explained. Like, we need a prequel to this prequel film to really. I mean, I don't want one. I mean, I said we need one, but I don't want one. Like, I don't need to keep going back. But it's like something happened. Maybe something happened in that room. The shit got corrupted or something. We don't really know who or what the engineers really were, aside from they came to ancient Earth and the dude drank the stuff and killed himself, and then he created life. And it's like, we didn't really get too much explanation for what went on that planet. And I know you guys have heard this. There's plenty of people out there who are uneducated who go, this planet doesn't look anything like the original planet on the original Alien. It's like, because it's not.
Yeah.
And it It just happens to have a ship that looks the exact same as the one that crashed, but it's not. I always forget the original planet was LV-426, correct?
Right.
And this was like LV-423 or something.
Like 233 or something.
Yeah, it was not the original one. So it's like, and that is, you were right, Dylan. That is where the prequel stuff starts to harm it, where it's like it was pointlessly putting something that looks identical to the original Alien in it, even though you're like, but it's not.
Right.
This is not the prequel planet. It's like, well, then why did you do it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it must be a Damon Lindelof thing to kind of plant questions without really ever answering them. I mean, I've never.
What he needs is a good counterpart. He needs to, because I mean that could almost work. You get someone who can ask these kind of interesting questions, but then you got to have somebody there who can come up with good logical closures. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you need people to be able to work off each other, and Lindelof, and he doesn't. He never has, and he probably never will.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. I've never actually seen Lost. I'm only familiar with it with like Watchmen or The Leftovers, and I like those shows, but they do leave a lot. Like they leave a lot ambiguous there.
Yeah, Dylan and I have seen the Watchmen TV series, and while it is good, it follows a graphic novel. It's a lot of like, what the fuck? Like by the end, it's like there's more questions than actual answers.
Yeah. Well, my main problems for the movie have more to do with how at times it seems to just be going through the motions as an Alien movie. Like there's a lot of shots of them in long dark hallways, and crew member gets infected. We have like not exactly chest burster, it's more of a stomach burster here. But I don't know. It's like when I'm watching marathoning all of these Alien movies, it's like I just begin to realize how they're all essentially the same movie.
You're not wrong there. I mean, like Prometheus does try and like emulate Alien, even though they said in its marketing it wasn't an Alien movie.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, didn't they say like?
I thought that was the whole point of the marketing, that it was an Alien prequel.
Yeah, at least here in America, it definitely was. Like, what happened before Alien? Watch Prometheus and find out.
Oh, really? That's
it's like
how it was marketed.
No, no.
Not verbatim.
Yeah, not exactly. But I mean, it was, it was it was obvious because it was like they flashed the engineers and it was like, oh shit. But I think it would have been better if it had been its own thing. But I don't know. I genuinely think the next movie did far more damage than this movie ever thought it could possibly do to the Alien legacy, because just the direction they went after this movie almost leaves this one a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth, because it's like there was more I wanted from this story that they started here that they've completely abandoned, and Covenant has made it so any questions I still had following this film will never be answered now. So I mean, there, like you said, there's some good mysteries. I thought the movie looked beautiful. I mean, it's Ridley. He looked absolutely incredible, I thought. Just, I don't really remember too many of the characters. I mean, obviously, like you said, Fassbender is David. Extremely, extremely memorable. The main lead,
Shaw.
Shaw.
Yeah, Shaw. I liked Shaw. I actually thought she was a pretty damn good character.
Yep, same here.
Adrian Pierce
Hi, Pierce.
Guy Pierce. I
like this movie.
Why did they do that? I've
You know,
actually heard people justify it like, oh, well, because then we couldn't. They did that so he'd look like his scenes in Alien Covenant. I'm like,
it's a
Ridley
different
Scott did not make this with Covenant in mind. That's not
I
a
agree.
valid excuse.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just get an old man to play an old man?
The makeup's pretty terrible too. Like when I was a kid, I thought he had a condition or something.
he's like the Emperor.
Yes,
His face is
yeah.
all old and
He looked
saggy.
like the Emperor right after he electrocuted himself in Revenge of the Sith.
He did. He really did. They could have just put any other old man in that role, seriously. And it's like, someone could almost be like, "Well, with an old man, he wouldn't be able to like physically move as much." And it's like, yeah, his character had a cane in this movie, so they easily could have gone with any single old man on the planet to play that role.
Yeah, really, Scott could have just casted himself.
I actually think that could have been kind of cool. Let's see. So I think the one thing I'm kind of mixed about is I don't, and like I said, due to what comes next, we're never gonna know. I don't understand why the engineer, as soon as he was like awoken, was like getting ready to make a beeline for Earth. Like, have either of you any thoughts on that? Maybe your own theories?
Maybe I have no explanation why the engineer decided I'm gonna attack Earth right now.
There's some.
My guess is okay. My guess is this is my guess based on the information I got from Prometheus. So at the very beginning, you have the engineer drinking the black goo that decomposes and creates life on Earth. So I have a feeling that engineer went rogue. It was a rogue engineer. You know what I mean?
Like, who was against the like? So here's the other question, though, that again we'll never get an answer to. Those like hologram flashbacks we watched. When did that happen? After life was created on Earth? Before? Simultaneously?
Okay, that's my theory. Before, so basically, my theory is that hologram flashback was them testing out the black goo, and they realized that it can destroy things, but the things it destroys creates life. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use it as a weapon. But that rogue engineer was like, no, I don't want to do that. So he takes the black goo, drinks it, and it creates, he goes to a planet, which is Earth, and creates life on Earth. And then the engineer who wakes up realizes about, that guy went rogue. I need to amend his mistake. That's why I'm going to destroy Earth right now. That's what it means. That's what I think it means, although I have like no basis whatsoever.
That's
well, and we're never going to get an answer. So, I mean, whatever you guys come up with is the best we're going to get.
We do have kind of, well, I think it was Ridley Scott himself actually who kind of confirmed why they wanted to destroy Earth. Is that apparently Jesus was either Jesus was an engineer or he was like a human, like abducted by engineers, educated, and sent back to our planet to kind of teach us their ways or whatever. And since we killed him, like we've completely lost. Like the engineers have completely lost faith in us. So now they believe that we're supposed to be eradicated. And that's why that ship was headed back to Earth to just get rid of us. But
I could see either of those options being viable. I think both of those are better explanations than Lindelof ever would have written.
I think that the Jesus idea might have been more fleshed out in the whatever 6 sequels they're going to do with this, but we may never know now.
That's never going to happen now that Disney owns the bullshit. And after how bad Covenant did critically and financially, I personally think even if Fox was still around, they were going to say no more of this.
Right. I mean, Covenant wasn't a huge bomb, but not successful enough, I think, to warrant Ridley Scott's planned like 6 movies.
Yeah, because we'll get to Covenant.
Uh,
So I guess my closing thoughts on Prometheus is it looks great. The story is pretty interesting. And I do enjoy watching it. And I love the music. It's just
Yeah.
it as a standalone film, I think it would have been stronger. As an Alien sidequel, I'll give it that. I'll call it that. It takes place in the same universe. It still, I think, succeeds, but with the sequel that we got to this, which is a sequel to Prometheus, I think that sequel almost damages this legacy in a way. But maybe that's just me.
Alien Covenant actually made me appreciate Prometheus a little bit more, just because of how ambitious it was, and I wish they had gone in a path that actually further distinguished itself from the other Alien movies. And I also forgot to mention there were some standout moments, mainly the med pod scene, the alien cesarean scene.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's almost on par with the first chest burster scene in terms of disturbing factor. But
I'll give you that one.
yeah, but overall, I like the movie. I'll just leave it at that.
I like it too, honestly. If I'm being honest, I like Covenant also, even though, yeah, looking back, it really destroys the story. But I still like it as like a fun body horror alien movie. Admits.
Oh, so we're on to Covenant now.
I mean, like, unless you guys have something more to say about Prometheus, like I'm
I
kind
closed
of
up.
That's about it, I guess.
All right, so let's move to Alien Covenant. What do you guys think of that movie? Dylan?
Dylan, go ahead.
We watched this together, you and I.
Yes.
This was my first Alien movie ever. So
I
what a
think
way to
that's
start.
and
I feel like there's a much more interesting movie that happened in between Prometheus and Alien Covenant. But
Agreed.
okay, but in terms of the movie we got, I think it's kind of a mess of good ideas, bad ideas. Like, on one hand, it wants to be like the cerebral sci-fi that Prometheus is, but it's also, again, weighed down by the fact that it's an alien movie and has to do a lot of the same alien things that we've seen, 6 times before.
mm-hmm. I did like Michael Fassbender playing 2 roles. That was cool.
Yeah, he was a big part of the movie.
And I like Catherine Watterson.
You only like her because she's in Fantastic
No,
Beasts.
I actually liked her character. I really liked her character.
She was just a Ripley clone.
No,
I'd say
well,
she was a
Shaw was a much
serviceable
more interesting character.
That's true.
that's
Right.
true also. I like Billy Crudup. He was like nice.
Oh, the captain, right?
Yeah, the captain.
Yeah, it does have my favorite.
After James Franco was killed.
I was about to say it does have my favorite James Franco role yet.
Him burning to pieces.
I
In
was
the
so
first 5 minutes of the movie.
I was so shocked that happened because I thought James Franco was actually gonna be part of this entire like alien movie.
Oh,
I
really?
didn't even know he was. I didn't even know he was
same. I
in
didn't know
it
he was
until
in
I
it.
saw him dying.
Actually, that's not true. I saw one of the clips they released on YouTube, and it's showing like the crew interacting before they go to cryosleep. And yeah, he was in it.
Oh, I remember that coming out, and I purposely avoided it because I was so hyped for this movie, and I didn't want anything.
Oh, that sucks.
I was there opening night. I was so excited. I saw it with like 2 of my other buddies who both like the Alien movies, and we hated it.
Really?
I am of 2 minds about this film, which is very weird. On one hand, I despise this film because it almost dives into like Star Wars prequels territory of the director completely forgetting what he created to begin with.
Yikes.
But it does. We'll get into it. But on the other hand, the tone, the look, the feel, the kills, the gore are fucking incredible.
Oh yeah, I love it.
This is like one of the few movies on earth where it's like I hate it, but I love it at the same time.
Yeah, it is a very well-made movie. And Ridley Scott, I think he seems to be about as good as a script. But even if it's a bad script, he knows how to put the best visual representation of it on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed there.
Unfortunately, yeah, it's just not a very good script. Did Lindelof still write this one?
I wouldn't doubt it.
I wouldn't doubt it also, yeah.
I'll check.
I think so. I feel like this was around the time when he was basically told you're out of Hollywood. You can go back to writing TV shows.
Oh, apparently he's not credited anyways among screenwriters.
No, he's not. It's a bunch of people I don't know.
The guy who wrote Gladiator, apparently.
Whoa, no way.
And Hugo and the Aviator.
That's bizarre.
That is.
Oh, Santino. It's also the same guy who wrote Star Trek Nemesis.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense now. That makes sense now.
But he also wrote Skyfall.
This guy has like the weirdest track record ever.
Well, Justice League was written by the guy who did Argo, so it really.
Wait, which Justice League? The good one or the bad one?
Either, I guess. I think it's I have no idea.
The 4-hour cut or the Whedon cut?
Either, I guess, but the Whedon cut was just butchered from the 4-hour one. So you really can't fault the writer for that, can you? You have to fault like the editing team.
Right.
Oh, that guy has a weirdest track record. Star Trek Nemesis, Skyfall,
Alien Covenant, The Aviator,
Gladiator. It's like it's like a stock price. It keeps on going up and down, up and down.
Never stays consistent.
It never stays constant. It's always fluctuating. It's like it's good when he wants to be. It's bad when he wants it to be. Like
you can tell which scripts he poured his heart and soul into, and you can tell the ones they were like, "Hey, you want to make some money? Absolutely, I'll pump this out over the weekend."
Yeah, well, it could have also been a studio thing because, like I said earlier, that the movie feels the need to suddenly become an alien movie. Like the last 30 minutes of the movie, it's almost like a beat for beat remake of Alien or Aliens.
It was literally an amalgamation of it almost had that feeling of what is it? The Rob Zombie Halloween, where they just remade the original in the last half of the movie, and instead in this one, they just remade Alien and the end of Aliens in the last like 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, and we get this weird, like, gratuitous shower scene that feels straight out of Friday the 13th or something.
I get what they were going for with that, but it just didn't work. It looked cool, but it's like, that's one of those scenes. It looked like it could have been really cool, but then just that last, the last 15 minutes, it almost just felt like Ridley didn't even want to do that because it just felt rushed.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll just say what my biggest issue with this film is overall. It makes no goddamn sense in the slightest.
Yeah.
Okay. And I've heard people try and use this excuse for me before, and I'm not buying it in the slightest. How the hell did the ship from Alien 1 have the eggs on it if David just created the xenomorphs?
Mm,
How? And somebody actually tried telling me, they're like, well, maybe a future movie will invent time travel, and that's how I got there. I'm
Oh,
like,
no.
oh, fuck
Oh,
off
no.
with that. I'm like,
No.
don't give me that. Maybe a future movie will do something.
No.
I'm like, this movie screwed up badly its own timeline. And I don't understand how could Ridley Scott have how could he have filmed it? This movie took place, what, 30, 40 years before Alien? That ship was fossilized in the first Alien.
I mean, did he invent the xenomorph, or was he trying to like recreate it from scratch?
Yeah,
Well,
that's the
don't
question
forget
right
that.
now.
Yeah, but he devolved them. They went from being created by the spores to having to go through the face hugger and the white. I think they were called neomorphs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They seemed just as savage, if not as savage, as the regular black xenomorphs. I don't
Right.
understand. That's the part of this movie that drives me nuts, because I'm like, I don't understand why you would take something as simple as the spores and make them more.
Complicated with the alien face hunger. Like you have to create.
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do like that. Okay, I can throw a bunch of face huggers at a bunch of people, or I can calmly walk by a room, throw one of those spore things that somebody stepped on by chance, and then the spores will get in the air. I mean, what if you're going
Right.
for war? What's going to win? The spores or the face huggers? You can't stop the spores, but you can see the face huggers.
Yeah, that is pretty weird. I never actually thought about that.
Same.
I think they were just going for what looked cool, because like you said, it really looks cool watching those spores slowly enter through the dude's ear canal.
Mm-hmm.
But when you really think about it, it makes no sense.
And the way they came out was different. Came out through the back, which I thought was kind of cool to watch.
Oh yeah, the spine.
Like all that stuff on the
Spine
drop
burst-
ship.
Yep, that was a great sequence, even if it was pretty unintentionally funny at times.
How many
Seeing,
times did they all fall over?
yeah, like two characters slip in blood, and then one of them catches her own foot at the door. And then instead of running outside, she chooses to fight the alien herself instead of running
Start a
outside
fire.
calling for help.
And then she,
And she blows
blows
up
the
her
whole
own
thing
shit.
up.
Right. That was like an
I think-
evil sequence.
That really was. Probably one of the most like and this is another thing I heard. I didn't think of this until after the movie came out, so this is not like one of my initial thoughts. Does it really make sense for groups of couples to like work together though?
I think for that mission, because remember it was a colony mission, right? So
Yeah, but
It was
then
specific for
leave your spouse in stasis and only one of you come out. Because like that, that's I mean, like the shit with Danny McBride. He was emotionally attached, and he brought the fucking mothership into orbit. Remember,
Right.
like he risked the lives of how many colonists in stasis just for that.
Mm-hmm. People also mentioned how dumb it was in Prometheus that they took off their helmets, and here they don't even bother wearing helmets on landing.
on the alien planet where you don't know what's gonna happen,
Right.
you don't wear your helmets. Nice.
And so, kind of, Dylan, I want to build and kind of go off of what you said a few minutes ago about there feels like there should have been a movie in between Prometheus and this.
Yep.
So, when did David go from serving Wayland and just, being who he was in Prometheus to causing genocide for unexplained reasons, murdering Shaw and dissecting her, and then wanting to go back to Earth and do the same. I don't. What?
Yeah.
What did Shaw do something in fixing him? Which I don't know why she even fixed him. Anyways, I didn't think she was. What was Shaw an archaeologist? When the hell did she become someone who could repair an android? He was as destroyed as Bishop was in Aliens, and Bishop looked like he was supposed to be a more sophisticated model because he came like over 100 years later.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a more interesting movie in between.
Yeah, because nothing from the end of Prometheus really lines up with this film at all. I mean, they inserted that intro of David and younger Wayland, but it's like that almost contradicts what David's character was in Prometheus.
Oh, real side note though, I love the visuals on that opening scene. They look amazing.
I like how the ship looked.
Yeah.
That's true. I think most of her budget went to how like the ship and the planet look, because the actual aliens themselves look really cartoony in this one.
Yeah. They kind of had like that like shiny look to their CGI, but it was like that almost made them look more cartoony, especially slipping around in the CGI looking blood.
Yeah. Apparently the budget is only like 90 million, which is
Wow.
a bit lower than you'd expect from this movie.
This almost looked like something that should have been like 100 million.
I mean,
or
okay,
more.
97 to 111 million.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's still lower than like your typical Marvel movie.
Fair enough.
Ridley came from the days of knowing how to stretch a budget, so I don't know. I don't like Covenant on the basis of, like I said, it's a prequel. It's called Alien Covenant. They put Alien in the title, which they didn't need to, and it just doesn't line up with. It doesn't line up with what comes next. So it's straight even further away from. It's straight away from being a sidequel to pretty much being a straight up prequel, but it's a prequel that doesn't make sense in terms of story. But like I said, on the flip side, I love how it looks. I love the body horror. I love some of the deaths. And I like some of the characters. It's such a mixed bag for me, this one.
Yep.
I feel exactly the same. I'll give it this though, that I think David I think is a very interesting, probably the most interesting non-alien villain we've had in the franchise so far.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Yeah,
I'll give you that one.
David is probably.
He seems complex.
Yeah,
he seems
probably, like,
complex,
the best villain that we have.
But we don't know why.
That's why I think we need more movies with David in it. Like, I want to see exactly what made him turn.
I think
they left it as he's got the Covenant now, and he's the only one awake. So, I doubt we're ever going to get anything else. I think I've heard Disney is either going to do like I don't know. I don't know what Disney's going to do. There's been so many rumors about the Alien franchise over the past like 5 years.
Yeah, Neil Blomkamp is going to do one.
That would have been his idea. Would have been so much better. A direct sequel
to Aliens.
He was going to do. He was going to do a direct sequel to Aliens, and Newt, Ripley, and Hicks were still going to be alive.
Oh my god, that'd been awesome.
Yep, and boom, that just suddenly disappeared. No idea. And I remember Blomkamp was like, he would talked about it like quite a bit, didn't he?
Yeah, there's like concept art of it too online.
Yeah, and then just out of the blue, it was gone. It was done. And it's like, I almost have a feeling Ridley Scott had something to do with that. I have a feeling he like put his foot down and was like, no, this is my franchise. I'm doing my movies for this. And, you know, when it comes to a studio, who are they going to bow their wills to? Ridley Scott or Neil Blomkamp?
Well, yeah, obviously Ridley Scott.
So it's like Blomkamp obviously lost. So I have a feeling Scott had something to do with it, but I don't know. It would have been interesting, but it's like that with Disney owning it now. I don't think we're ever going to see anything really.
Mm-hmm.
Or if we do, it'll be PG-13.
Oh no.
I don't want that. That's the R.
As for David's transformation, I don't have much of a problem with that because I think it's summed up already in the opening scene where he realizes that he's in every way superior to his creators, and yet he's still like, you know, programmed to just like pour him some tea.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that you can argue that since Waylon died, like he just lost all, you know, all purpose that was programmed into him.
Okay. You know what? Yep. I never thought of that. I'll give you that. Once Waylon died, it was just like, oh, well, the man who programmed me to be his slave is gone. Good. I can do whatever I want now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I just, if there would be one reason that I'd be interested in the next one, it would definitely be for David.
Yup, same. Because David's a great character. I remember watching Alien Covenant with Dylan, and he was like, the end is totally gonna be David. Like, obviously it was cut out.
Yeah, that seems really
I was
obvious.
like, no way. I'm like, you're not gonna do it. And then they actually like, oh, okay, yes, so you know way more than I do. I couldn't see it. It was like, it's that predictable, Sandy. Like, I guess so. I mean, like, I don't know.
You know, the execution scene was pretty weird too. Like how, like when she's about to go to sleep, she asks him like, you know, when we get to the lake house, when we get to the lake, will you help me build my house? And then he just looks at her confused, like, why didn't he just say yes? You know, or was he intentionally messing with her? Like,
I will give it that has to be one of the scariest feelings ever, though.
Yes.
You know, like she's going under and she realizes it's David and she knows there's absolutely nothing she can do about it except go to sleep, not knowing if she'll ever even wake up.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty horrifying thought.
Yeah. I'm just saying she probably should have just phrased it like, you know, what was my promise to my dead husband or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
She really wanted to know if he was David or Walter.
I mean, you might want to check on that before you insert yourself in cryo sleep.
That should have been like the first thing you asked him.
Or you know what? She just said, forget it. Whether it's David or Walter, just leave him on the planet. He's an android. Who gives a damn?
Right.
As cruel as that sounds, but it's like, I don't have time to take this chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, she stabbed him in the chin with her necklace. She also could have checked there.
How did he have time to cut it? No, never mind. He cut his hair earlier. Yeah, I would say that was right.
Whatever. He's a robot. I'm sure he can.
Exactly. Oh, I've got nothing left for Covenant.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful mess, I guess.
That's the best.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a whimper to go out on. They always go out on a whimper, don't they? Every franchise. God, every franchise ends on such a whimper. They never end like perfect. There's like, I think one of the only like series that ended chronologically on a high note, I'd say, Dylan, I'm sure you'll agree, was probably Godzilla versus Destroyer.
True. Or Godzilla Final Wars, I guess.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, hey, Godzilla did it twice in 2 of his series. Mm-hmm. Everybody else just seems to be like, make them till they don't make any money and they're terrible, so people stop watching.
The thing, though, is that with Toho, it's like they already know they're losing money, so they just put as much effort into the last one.
That's such a smarter way to do it instead of just like keep going until it's absolutely dead. Just like
Yeah.
pick your own end game and be
Yeah.
like, here's where it stops. It doesn't matter if it makes money. Take that money and invest it into new projects or something.
Right.
All right. So I guess that's it. So Santino signing off. Dylan, Chad, thank you for joining.
Hmm.
All right. Bye, guys.